What's good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod, and I'm a full-time eBay and Poshmark seller. And today is live show number 5. Is this 5 or 6? Yeah, we are on live show number 5. So just to let you guys know, every Sunday at 1 o'clock, I do a live show where I answer any questions that you guys may have. And I pull some questions from previous videos, and I just kind of expound upon them in these videos a little bit. But it's definitely interactive. So if you guys have any questions, drop that in the chat, and we will try to get to those as soon as possible throughout the show. And today I just want to switch things up because I don't have that many questions to answer for you guys from the previous videos. But I did want to go over just a couple different subjects because I know the new eBay seller updates. That's a very popular topic right now in the reseller community. So I did want to give my throw my 2 cents in that. And I just wanted to share my new Poshmark strategy with you guys as well, because I do think it could be very helpful. So just stay tuned for that. I'll wait for a few more people to join the chat. I think we got about 4 people in here right now. So just wait for a few more people to join the chat. If any of you have any questions, like I said, drop that in the feed, and we'll just get to that as soon as possible. So I'll just start off with some of the questions that I do have. First one is from Mel Santiago. She asked, how much do you usually reinvest into more items to resell? Now, when I first started selling on eBay, it was about 100% of my business. 100% of my profits was going back into the business, because at that point, it was more so about trying to grow and grow quickly. So as soon as I made any money, when I say 100%, I mean after bills are paid, all the remaining profit would, of course, go into the business, and I would buy more inventory, whether it was shoes, clothes, or hard goods like electronics and stuff. But at this point, I'm saving for the wedding, so I'm going to say about 60% of the profits are going back into the business. So that's just a little tip for you guys, especially if you're just starting out. I suggest you guys invest. If you can, invest everything back into your business, especially if you're only doing it part-time and you're just in the very early stages. Don't be quick to spend the money that you're making, especially if you want to do this for any long amount of time, or you want to take it serious or have plans on taking it serious in the future. Just hold that money and use that money to reinvest into the business, and you can turn that 20 into 50 and that 50 into 100 and so on and so forth. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. At this point, like I said, I'm really trying to invest more money into the business in terms of my Poshmark business. And I guess we could start talking about that now, since that is where I'm heading to. But when it comes to Poshmark, at first I was just cross-listing everything. So it would basically be everything that was on my eBay store would go into Poshmark. And I made a video on that too. So if you guys didn't see that one, I guess I'll drop that in the description once this stream is finished. But that was really just my Poshmark strategy. There was no real difference in my eBay and Poshmark closet. And I did realize that once I started being more, being more strategic with it, and started buying things only for Poshmark and buying things only for eBay, I was able to not only start making more money on Poshmark, of course, but I was able to start moving away from just accepting offers on every item on eBay. Now, I made a video on this before too, but when it comes to negotiating, I'm just really, not to say that I'm bad at it, but I don't care for it. I'm not the type of person that likes to haggle back and forth with people. So with eBay and with Poshmark, of course, people like deals. They just want to get a good deal. But I'm moving towards the model of like a regular retail store, because when you go to a regular store, you can't see the price tag, say $60, and then ask them if they would take 40. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where I'm heading towards. Eventually, everything in my eBay store will not be accepting any offers whatsoever, but only because I'm doing so well on Poshmark at this point, I'm feeling more confident in being able to wait until the right buyer comes along for eBay. So I do think that can definitely help you guys as well if you're thinking about a new Poshmark strategy or just a different way on how to sell, because the markets to me are completely different. With Poshmark, of course, it's just clothing, so that just kind of lets you know how different it is. But at the same time, Poshmark, and this is just from my experience, of course, but Poshmark buyers, they like things between 20 and 40 bucks. Anything over that, it's usually a lot of haggling, a lot of negotiations. And last month I did sell some higher priced items, so that was good. But my average sale price on Poshmark is probably closer to about 25 bucks. So definitely keep that in mind when you're trying to sell things on Poshmark, especially if you're trying to sell volume. We have some questions. I love your content. Question: what size of women's jeans sell the best for you? I don't necessarily look for the particular sizes, and thank you too. I appreciate that. I'm trying to put out more content for the people. But when it comes to women's jeans, it's not so much the size that I pay attention to. It's really just the brands. I try to pick up stuff like Page and Citizens of Humanity, all the brands that are fairly popular that people really gravitate towards and that people have more experience with. Those are the brands that I'm trying to pick up. I don't like to pick up brands that have like really big fluctuating sizes. Like Levi's, it might say size 34, but the waist might fit like a 32. I try to stay away from those type of stuff. But like I said, I really just try to stick with brands that are kind of popular. And when people see the brand, they already know how it fits, and they're really just concerned about, if it's their size or not. Last month, the only measurement I've been including is the inseam, and that's been really helpful. I haven't been putting like leg opening and the waist and the thigh measurements. I used to do that, but on Poshmark, I sold about, I want to say 7 or 8 pairs of jeans last month, and the only measurement I included was the inseam. So you guys can try that. Let me know if it works. If it doesn't, I mean, I guess it just depends on the buyer. You go ahead. What are your thoughts about Goodwill stores or just thrift stores across the country raising their prices, even making their employees watch whole videos so they know what to mark up? Wow, I didn't know that's a thing. But I mean, Goodwills and all these thrift stores, they know what they have. You know what I mean? A lot of these managers, it's a competition in between the different districts. You know what I mean? So they're trying to make the most amount of money for their store possible. So at one point, my Goodwills were on the more expensive side, so I had to like take a hit on a lot of those things. But now they're back to normal. But there's like 10 thrift stores in my area, and I don't go to all 10 because some of them are just way too expensive. So for me, I think it's bullshit, because for one, they're getting these stuff for free. You know what I mean? And they're just trying to make more money on it. And the reason why I'm kind of torn is because if I owned a thrift store, I would do the exact same thing. I'm getting free inventory and it's a good brand, so of course I would mark up the price. But I mean, because I'm also a business owner, I'm looking at it at that perspective. But because I'm trying to buy those things and make more money for myself, it upsets me. But at the same time, it is what it is. I think it's just a matter of just trying to be one step ahead of them. You know what I mean? There's always going to be brands that employees are familiar with, like Patagonia and Lululemon. Like, they're always going to know those brands. But brands that are more rare, something like even something like a Filson or something like John Own Bay, like that's a jacket I just sold the other day, and those are brands they're not going to be familiar with. So as long as you keep doing research and you keep being familiar with different brands, you always be one step ahead of them. But it just is what it is. It's business. It's no real way around it, unless you do a completely different business model or something. But I mean, it is what it is. Here's another question I had from a previous video. It says, I often find Jordans, especially in the thrift, without insoles. Is it just me, or why is that? I find a ton of shoes in thrift stores without insoles. And for me personally, if it doesn't have insoles, I would still list the shoes without insole. I'll just put it in my description and say the shoes don't have insoles. It usually doesn't affect the price too badly. And sometimes if I get a pair of shoes and there was something wrong with the shoes, I'll purposely take out the insoles out of there so it's not a complete waste, and I can put those insoles in a different pair of shoes. Or you can just go ahead and buy some fresh insoles. So it really doesn't. You have a bunch of different options when that does happen. But the reason why you might not see insoles in certain shoes is because it just depends on the size. Like some people, if they wear a size 10 and the only shoe that was available was a 9.5, they might still buy that and just take out the insoles. So that's pretty common, especially in thrift stores. I'm just getting started. How do you handle a buyer who doesn't Who doesn't on eBay? Who doesn't want to pay? I mean, there's no way around that either. That still happens to me. It doesn't happen as often because, like I said, I'm moving away from accepting offers. But at the same time, that's very, very common, especially in the beginning. For me, that would happen at least like 2 or 3 times a month. So the best way to counteract that is to list your items. Excuse me, list your items good until cancel. Oh, there you go. Excuse me. List your items for good until canceled, and that way, once you have, once the item is sold, and if that person doesn't pay, you can always just change the quantity and basically relist that item without losing an actual listing. So that's something that I was doing in the very beginning, and I just kind of kept doing that to kind of counteract that. But like I said, when it comes to auctions, especially if it's like somebody bids and then they didn't pay after winning that auction, I mean, you kind of just have to relist it. But for the most part, it's just part of eBay. It's just part of business. It's always going to happen. It's buyer's remorse. And to be honest, I'd rather somebody not pay in the beginning than to have buyer's remorse and then try to open a return case and then make up like a false claim and say it was damaged or something like that, or leave bad feedback because they just have buyer's remorse. So, I mean, you could always just look at it from both perspectives. Don't forget to send those questions, y'all. Next one, here's a quick tip. If you're at Goodwill and you want an item that is flawed in any way, show it to your cashier and ask if they can discount it for you. If they can't, they will always ask the manager. I got $3 off a coat the other day, and they're always nice about doing that for you. Now, this was not necessarily a question, but it was a tip that I wanted to kind of just talk about a little more in depth. Now, for somebody like me that goes to thrift stores and the same thrift stores every day, using that tactic will be very, very, very bad. And I would suggest nobody try doing that, especially if you're sourcing on a consistent basis like me. Now, the reason why I say that is because if I was to go to the thrift every day and every time I'm at the register and I'm like, oh, this has a stain, could you take some money off? The employees, the managers, everybody there would get sick of me. And for me, basically, I'm trying, not to say that I'm good friends with the Goodwill employees, but I try to have a good relationship with them to the point where I try to make their life easy. And if I can, take the hangers off the clothes really quick, or if I can read out the prices to them, like whatever I can do to kind of make that whole process a lot easier for them, especially since I buy so many things in bulk at one time, I'll go ahead and do that. Now, I hate when people are in the thrift store and they say, oh, this thing has a hole, can you take some money off? Or this has a damage. Like, at the end of the day, it's the thrift store and it was donated because it had a hole or because it had a stain and that person didn't want to deal with it. So you can try that if you're, you only source one day a week, or you only source on the weekends and the employees don't see you often. You can try that. But if you're like me and you source consistently and the same employees are there, I suggest don't even try doing that. But I just didn't want to talk about that because I hope you guys don't try doing that. Have you ever had shoes without the shoe size? And if so, how do you handle the issue? That happens to me all the time. Now, if I'm in the thrift and I'm seeing a bunch of shoes and I'm trying to grab up a bunch at one time, if I get too excited, if I have like 10 pairs at one time, that's usually when something like that will happen to me, and I'll just have to, I just have to bite the bullet. Now, what I usually do is if I come home and I realize that shoe doesn't have a size tag in it, I'll just take it to somewhere like Plato's, Buffalo Exchange, Crossroads, and I'll just, they don't really care because they know whoever's buying that shoe can try it on in the store. So as long as the shoe isn't clean, as long as the shoe isn't damaged or it's like really dirty, you can definitely go ahead and try doing that because, like I said, people that's buying it could always try on the shoe, and that just works best for me. Anytime I go to Crossroads or Buffalo Exchange, I'm usually taking in shoes that didn't have the size tag. But like I said, they don't care. What is your strategy for not overpricing or underpricing for shipping on eBay? I usually always overprice on eBay because for one reason, I view it more as shipping and handling. So one, you're paying for, the cost of shipping, but a lot of times I'm still factoring in the cost of the shipping supplies, and I'm factoring in some of my time that it takes me to, prepare it properly. And the reason why I overprice a lot of my items and I get away with it is because I ship items out the same day if not the same day, the next morning. So I kind of get away with pricing a little more for shipping because my shipping is expedited. Everything that I ship is always 1 to 2 days, and it's usually, like I said, 1 day is usually what I aim for. So people feel more comfortable paying a couple extra dollars if they know they'll get their item quick. And the thing is with feedback, that's super important. When you go through anybody's feedback and you can see that the common theme is super fast shipping, got it faster than expected, that'll make somebody buy your item before they buy somebody else's. So I usually overprice on my shipping all the time just to kind of cover the fact that, you know, you have to pay for shipping supplies, and I'm considering the fact that it's shipping and handling. But also why I always charge a little more is because if it's being shipped in, if I'm shipping a pair of shoes, for example, in California, that might cost me $8. But if I'm shipping that same pair of shoes to New York, that might cost me $13 or $14. So I always price a little more just to take that into consideration based on the location of where the item is going. Do you lot like items right off the bat or list separately? I usually list separately. I don't like to lot items. I think that's a really good idea to lot items if you're in an area that has lower end brands. And when I say lower end brands, I mean brands like Land's End or New Age Tommy Hilfiger or like Ralph Lauren. I think those are good brands to lot together. But for my area, fortunately, my area has a lot of good brands, and my thrift store has really good prices. So I usually stay away from those brands, and I don't pick them up at all unless it's brand new with the tags or it's in a really big size. But if you're trying a lot items, I do think it'll work if you're in an area that doesn't have good brands. So if you can find like 5 Polo Ralph Lauren shirts in the same size, that's a good time to lot it. You can definitely make a little more money too as well. But for me, I don't usually bulk items together unless it's like, I don't know. I rarely do that. I do that more with hard goods. I try to bulk items together with hard goods. Clothing, I don't really bulk it together like that. Keep those questions going, my people. I don't think I have any more. Yeah, those are the only questions I did have. Sharing is the only purpose of sharing. To bring the items to the top. Yeah, that's basically the only thing. It's just to keep your items fresh in the search. For instance, for me, I like to keep certain brands in my search history. So I'm always searching whatever new Nike stuff, whatever new Jordan stuff is popping up in the feed. And by sharing your items, you're just basically putting those items to the top of the list. And I always tell people to make sure you do that, because just by doing that, you know, it's keeping it fresh, it's keeping it in the forefront of people's minds. And you never know when people are logging into Poshmark to shop. So you always want to share. For me, at this point, I'm sharing 3 times a day. And my Poshmark closet is only like 170 items. A couple weeks ago, it was at 150. So I'm slowly trying to like maintain more items. But I'm also averaging like 4 to 5 sales a day. So it's kind of hard to keep growing a Poshmark closet. But like I always tell you guys, I could care less about quantity. For me, if I'm moving product, that's the most important part. So that's what's good for me. Hello, I have a Poshmark question. In regards to the affiliate program, do you have any thoughts on that? I just got the invitation for that affiliate program because I just became a Poshmark ambassador. So I didn't even try to like opt in yet. If I did opt in, I didn't connect my social media platforms to it. So honestly, I don't really know what it all entails. I didn't even read all the information about it, because one thing with what I do, anytime there's a brand new program that comes out, I don't like to jump on board right away, because it's usually like the pilot phase and it's a testing phase. So they're kind of like just trying to figure out whatever problems there is. So I don't usually jump in right away, but so I'll probably I'll probably join the affiliate program in a few months to see how it works. But as of right now, I think it just opened like last week, so I'm not going to jump on board right away. Hi guys, what type of inventory system do you have, and do you use a spreadsheet? Right now, the only inventory system I have is I put everything in totes, and I have racks. So the racks are for big jackets and coats that I don't want to fold up, and the totes are for everything else. I even have shoes in totes. I have really, really large totes, and I put shoes in there as well. So the good thing with the totes and all those type of things is that it kind of protects your item from, you know, from the elements. I put all my stuff in the garage, and nothing has ever happened to it, so I'm good. I'm happy about that. But when I've seen a lot of different people have different storage systems and different inventory systems, so it's really just about what works best for you. I do think once you start having like over 300 to 400 items in your inventory, you probably should have more of a sophisticated system, and that could mean like pre-packaging your items and putting like a label or a number on it. I've seen that where people have something like a tote would say A1, and in the bags and in the tote it would be like A1C and then A1B and all those type of things. So I've seen those systems, and I think that works if you have a large inventory. But if you're on the smaller scale, just putting things in totes and storage racks, or even just keeping it in your closet it works. You know, as long as you can keep up with your stuff. That's the main thing. You don't want to lose items. You don't want to put it somewhere where it could get damaged, and once it's time to ship it out, you know, then you realize there was a flaw on it and stuff like that. So the storage system isn't that big for me. But then you asked if I have a spreadsheet. I actually do have a spreadsheet, and I'll be including that in my ebook that I'll be dropping pretty soon. That's coming out this month, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. But my spreadsheet, it's really just to maintain. It's not to necessarily maintain your inventory, but it's to help you keep up with all your financials, like how much money you're making each month and the cost of goods and stuff like that. But like I said, I'll be including that in my ebook later this month, so I'll keep you guys updated on that. What's your recommendation if you have stale items that have been in your closet for more than 6 months? We're still fairly new and have about 140 items in our closet so far. Stale items, well, it's two different things I do when it comes to stale items. The first thing is after the first 30 days, I drop the price just a little bit, whether that means $5 or $10, just so that it could be a change in the system. And if there's any watchers, they can see that I changed the price, and then they might be intrigued. If that doesn't work and it becomes like 4 or 5 months later and I still have an item, then I usually take it to somewhere like Buffalo Exchange, Crossroads, Plato's, those type of places, and I'll trade it in. And then I never take the cash. I usually just take trade, and I will always trade up for something much better. So that's how you guys see me getting so many different pairs of shoes that are really good quality shoes and like really good brands, because I'm trading like 5 or 6 shirts for 1 pair of shoes. And that usually works good in my favor, because realistically, if I'm trading in 5 shirts, that's $25, and they might give me like $60 or $70 in trade, and those shoes might be $30 or $40. So I always try to make sure that I'm winning whatever trade that I do anytime I'm dealing with those stores, those consignment stores. So you can try that. It usually works good for me. Usually places like Crossroads and Plato's, they have better brands because they're trying to pick up trendy stuff. So you can try that. And if not, I don't know. After that, you could donate it back. How do I make a posting in Poshmark that says something like accepting offers? How can I pin it to the top? You could put it in your title. You could always say, you could start it off as accepting offers and then say accepting offers, Nike sneakers size 9.5. You can just do that, and the person will know immediately that you're accepting offers. Or you can put it in the description, or you can make like a not a meme, but you can make a photo. Like you can screenshot something from your phone and then put a text over it and say, I'm accepting offers. And you could always try to keep that at the top of your closet. But honestly, people that shop on Poshmark, they know you're accepting offers. People on Poshmark, they hope you accept their offer, even if it's low. They hope that you accept their offer. So I don't think that's necessarily super important. But if you just wanted to customize your store a little bit and try that, I mean, that could work too. We got 57 people in the chat, 16 likes. Please hit the like button. It goes a long way. It lets YouTube know that I'm doing something worthwhile. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Dom, you want to say what's good to the people? Let them know that you, the woman behind the
Should I come into the camera?
Yeah, you can see.
Hi, people. I don't want to fall. We got it all set up with all these gadgets and things. So you guys know I'm the person responding to all you guys in the comments and showing Akil you guys' questions, because it is kind of hard to read through all this and, you know, answer the questions and stay focused. So I'll pull up the questions for him. So make sure you guys keep the questions coming so he knows what questions you guys need to be answered. If I miss anything by any chance, you know, just send it again. Or I see a lot of people putting a question mark in front of their question, which really lets me know it's a question more than just a comment or something. So that's really good too. So yeah, just keep the questions coming, and thanks for joining us in the chat today. Bye.
Bye. Okay, so I did see Pam say, I heard the affiliate program is not a good idea. Time will tell, I guess. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what they're trying to do with that affiliate program. If somebody could drop it in the chat, let me know exactly what the details are of the affiliate program. I'm pretty sure it's probably something where they're trying to give you some type of commission by either recruiting people to Poshmark or making sales on social media. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. So let me know what some of the details are, and we could keep that conversation going. I did want to talk more about my Poshmark strategy, my Poshmark sales strategy, because I've been making a ton of sales on Poshmark. Like I said, I've been averaging about 4 to 5 sales on Poshmark every day last month, and it's continuing into this month. So I definitely think this can definitely help you guys out. So in the past, I used to be very, very strategic and very specific about the brands I would pick up. I would only pick up items that would sell for at least $25. So if I would see a brand that usually averages at 20 bucks on eBay, I was the guy that was passing on that, and other resellers would follow up right behind me, and they would just be grabbing up those items. And I've literally seen it happen where we're both in racks, and they would be looking at me like, why would you leave this or why would you leave that? But I was just trying to get to a certain like an average sale price, and I knew if I kept picking up items that only sold about 20 bucks, I knew it would be not necessarily a waste of my time, but it wouldn't put me where I wanted to be. But like I said, on Poshmark, a lot of people, they're looking for those items for like 20 to 40 bucks. So those same brands that I used to pass on, those are the brands that I'm starting to pick up now. And just to give an example on some of the brands that I'm talking about, brands like Travis Matthew, like those are like golf polos, like Nike polo shirts that have like sports teams, like college teams on it, like those type of stuff I would pass on. But now that I'm seeing them, I'm just picking them up, and even though I'm not making a ton of money, if I pick it up for say $4 and sell it for 15 or 16, I'm probably only making about $8 after fees. But for me, $8 every time, and it's selling within like a few days, you know, why not? If you can literally flip 5 and make $8 profit every single time, that's still good profit for me. So that's really been helping. So you guys can probably try that for your Poshmark Closet as well. And especially, I'm sure some of you probably was already doing that, but for me, this is probably brand new for me because, like I said, I'm trying to save up some money for this wedding, and that's the easiest and fastest way that I think I've been able to grow so many sales. How do you clean blazers that need light cleaning or have wrinkles? Do you dry clean or have a method to clean at home? Definitely get a steamer. I think I should have a handheld steamer link, and it's an Amazon affiliate link. I should have a link to that in my description right now. But a steamer always works to get wrinkles out, and not necessarily stains, but it helps kind of lift up some of the stains that might have been sitting for years or maybe a few months. And from there, then you could use like a Tide stain pen and kind of get whatever stain out. But first, try using the steamer, and the steamer would kind of lift the stain up, and then the Tide pen would get rid of it. So that's what works best for me. I don't sell as many blazers and suit jackets and stuff like that like I used to. But anytime I do find something that's a really good brand and it has a stain, that's the same exact method I use. Could you make a video on how to set up a Poshmark account step by step? Yeah, I could do that. That's a simple video. That shouldn't be too much trouble. And as you guys can tell, like as soon as you give me a suggestion for a video, I try to make that video within that week. And that's because for me, the best way to make videos is to make videos that people actually want to see. So instead of me trying to sit down and be super creative and think of different ideas, if somebody has a good idea and they want to see it, I'll just go ahead and I'll make it. And if it gets 1,000 views, great. If it gets 2 views, shit, the person that asked for it, at least they're getting what they asked for. So if you guys have video suggestions, I always say shoot it in the comments, put it in the live stream, and I'll probably make a video during the week. And as of right now, I'm doing about 3 videos a week and then the live show on Sunday. So I'm pretty sure I'll get to all of those videos. How do you clean the outside and inside of shoes / loafers? I made 2 videos on that. So one thing what I did in the first video was scrubbing bubbles, and that helps clean the outsides. And if the insides are really dirty or it has a bad smell, then I usually would just throw it in the wash, and I would pre-treat it first. Like I'll try to scrub away any stains that's on the outside, and then I'll throw it in the washing machine. So I made 2 videos on that. One was more like leather and suede, and the other one was for knitted sneakers like Ultra Boost and Nike Prestos and those type of running shoes. So you could check those videos out and see which one works best for whichever shoes that you're trying to sell. Because some people say don't throw your shoes in the wash because it could damage it or it could separate the glue. And I do believe that's probably true, but I think it really depends on how old the shoe is. If you're talking about a shoe that's 10 years old and you try to put it in the washing machine, it might fall apart on you. But if it's a newer shoe, you can get away with washing it a couple times before you start seeing any real damage. And I've been washing shoes in the washing machine for years, and I've never damaged a pair of shoes in the washing machine. So give it a try. Do you join or have you hosted Poshmark parties? I joined any Poshmark party that applies to my closet. I always share to that. Like I hardly ever miss those those parties. I'm always in the parties trying to share my stuff because that does drive sales. And I would usually share my entire closet during a Poshmark party, even if it's not like affiliated with that party, just because I know there's more people on the app and there's more people that could see my items. So I'm just sharing my whole closet during that time. But I never hosted a party yet. I think that's probably for bigger Poshmark sellers, like people that have thousands of listings and thousands of followers and all that. If you guys check my Poshmark closet right now, I have 170 something active listings, and I really don't care about the followers or following other people. That's not important. People that have hundreds of thousands of followers on Poshmark, I mean, that's cool, but for me, it's about actually converting sales, and the followers don't necessarily equate to sales. So I don't really put too much energy on that. But I haven't, like I said, I haven't hosted any Poshmark parties. But 2019, one of my goals is to be at an eBay Open or Posh Fest and be a speaker. So I mean, if I gotta host a party, I'm gonna do that. But if anybody has any connections in Poshmark or eBay Open, drop it. Send me an email, DapperAdvisor@gmail.com. Let me know if you guys have any connections, if you guys have any tips on how I could do that, because that's one of my goals. And I definitely want to like kill all my goals for 2019. I know it doesn't matter, but what's your Poshmark rating? I've gotten a few 4 stars lately, and I think it's bull, especially for cheap $15 items. Mine is a 4.9, and it used to be a 4.6. And it was like, it's literally just people that's, like you said, it's people that's super petty. They were expecting something that wasn't even listed. They were expecting something brand new and clearly say it was used, and then they're disappointed that it had wrinkles. Like I don't get it. But don't pay too much attention to those the Poshmark rating. It's not public by any means, so people don't see if people won't see that if you have like a 2-star rating, people won't even know that. I mean, Poshmark would know that, and they probably won't promote your listings. But at the same time, it's not public information, so don't put too much energy into it. Just focus on trying to get more, trying to just sell things that won't put you in a bad position. Like I said, mine was a 4.6, and that was because, and this is when I first started out, of course, and that's when like a 1-star or a 2-star rating would hold more damage. And all of those were bullshit. Like it literally was, I got somebody said, oh, these shoes were a lot more wrinkled in person. I had a lot more creases. And I'm like, I said it had creases in the descriptions, but people are just petty like that. So don't pay too much attention to that type of stuff. Do you think purchasing large size shoes for women and men are a waste of time? I've been told I'm losing money by purchasing them size 14. If you're going to places like Ross and Burlington, and it's like a certain section where they only have really huge shoes, chances are you probably are wasting money, depending on how much it is, because there's only but so much people looking for a size 14. I mean, size 13 is pretty good, but anything size 13 and up, like 13 and a half is super rare, but anything size 13 and up, you're going to be holding on to that item a little longer, but it still sells. Like I've sold size 16 shoes before, but it just took a lot longer. So I don't like to buy those type of things, because for me, I like to sell things that sell within 30 days. Like that's usually my goal, and that's what's working for me so far. So I don't really try to sell items that would take 6 months to sell, because I don't usually have that amount of time, and I don't like having capital tied into stuff like that. But I mean, if it's sparingly, like 1 or 2 pairs of size 14s, pick it up, because it still will sell, but it might not sell that fast. What's the best way to move vintage jackets, eBay or Poshmark? eBay for sure, 100%. Are you talking about blazers, or are you talking about like vintage, like Polo Ralph Lauren jackets? It depends. But if you're talking about blazers specifically, definitely eBay, because eBay buyers, it's not to say it's a different type of buyer, because of course it's probably the same people on both apps. But people on eBay are searching for like vintage Harris Tweed and vintage Brioni and stuff like that. So
take that Dior jacket.
Or like a Dior. Well, yeah, you could definitely put that on eBay. Poshmark, I sold a couple blazers on Poshmark, but not a lot. There's not a lot of people buying blazers and suits on Poshmark. So put it on eBay. If it's Dior, I guess it depends on the condition, but you might get like $50 for it. You might have to wait and hold on to it for a while, but I mean, it will sell. What do you think it would take to be full-time on Posh versus eBay? I'm kind of afraid of eBay. Posh seems so easy. Yeah, it is. It is super easy. And I think there are a lot of people, especially YouTube resellers. There's a few of them that are doing pretty good on eBay. I mean, doing good just being full-time sellers on Poshmark. There's a few of them, but I always think it just depends on their lifestyle. Like if their overhead and their cost of living isn't that high, you can probably do $2,000 a month on Poshmark full time and be good to go. As long as your bills is paid, or if you're living, with your parents or something and you're not paying rent, Poshmark could definitely be an easy way to go for about full time. But for me, since I find a lot of hard goods, I have to sell on eBay, because you can't sell like video games on Poshmark. So I kind of have to do both. But if I had to choose just one, I would go with eBay, because eBay is still bigger. There's still more shoppers there. And I just prefer eBay over Poshmark. Even though it is easier, I still prefer eBay over Poshmark for several different reasons. I'll probably make a video on that too, just to go more in depth. But to me, eBay still is better than Posh. And I know some people would be like, that's crazy, but you gotta understand, I started selling on eBay, and I had an eBay account since 2008, so I'm like super familiar with it. So for me, I agree. I choose eBay. How do you price a vintage high fashion brand piece? I price every item the same. So I would just go to the sold section in eBay. Like I would type in that item in eBay, go to the filters and check off completed and sold and see how much it sold for in the past. And basically that will just let you know how much, what customers are willing to pay for it. Because that's basically what it's like in any market, right? Like somebody's only going to pay what somebody else thinks it's worth. So even if the tag says $1,000 on eBay, it might only sell for $150. So I always go to previous sales and to see what the market kind of tells me. I never just go into things blindly and say, it says 1,000, so I'll just add 700. Like I never try to do that, because you might end up holding on to your items forever. I'll give you guys a good example. I just sold my those Gucci shoes that I had picked up from Buffalo Exchange in LA. I picked those up for $60, and they just sold last month, and they sold for $375. And I had them listed for $440, and $440 was basically half price of the original price, and the original price was still on the bottom of the shoe. But at first I priced it at $440 just because I knew somebody was going to send me a offer, I was originally going to say $3.99, but I just wanted to factor in whatever offers would come my way. So like I said, I made what $250 on those shoes, but I didn't want to take a chance and say, oh, it says 700 on the bottom, so let me ask 600, because once I checked the soles told me that I would probably get somewhere between 250 and 350. So that was my way of pricing it, and I think that's just the best way to do it with whatever item you have. It doesn't matter if it's shoes, if it's expensive jackets, if it's hard goods. Every item I always go into the sole section first, just to kind of do a checks and balances, because I hate pricing items way too high, and I hate pricing items way too low, because I'm just leaving money on the table. So if that doesn't work for you, well then you can try something else. No more questions? Keep shooting some questions. We're probably gonna wrap up at 45. It's 41 minutes so far. 68 people in the chat. I appreciate y'all. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. It helps me out a lot. Hit the like button. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. Only hype shoes 13 plus. Yes, hype shoes size 13 definitely will sell. Basketball shoes too, size 13 plus. Like if it's like a hype basketball shoe size 13 plus, that'll definitely sell. Can you talk about the global shipping program on eBay? Yes, I can. Now, the global shipping program is my shit. I love the global shipping program for several reasons. What they do, it's not that great for the buyer, but it's amazing for the seller. So if I was to ship out something to Amsterdam, I would have to pay somewhere between like 20. Well, since the cost of shipping went up, I might have to spend somewhere between like $30 to $40 to ship that item, right? And on top of that, you know, eBay charges you fees on the cost of shipping, and they charge you fees on the sales price. So with the global shipping program, the item goes to Kentucky, and you're basically, for me, shipping items to Kentucky costs anywhere between $8 and $10. So it's a huge savings just on shipping the item there. So that's the big plus for me. The downside about it for the buyer is that eBay, they implement a lot of fees for the buyer. Even if they're in Canada, they still have to pay a ton of money to get international shipping because of that service. Because when I ship it out to Kentucky to the shipping program, eBay then takes over and then they ship it from there. So they have to wait a lot longer, pay a lot more fees. And I mean, that kind of sucks for the buyer, but at the same time, it was really just built in to help the seller and to really help people sell more items internationally. Because as you can see, eBay is really trying to grow and compete with Amazon, but you know, they're failing right now. But that's another story for another day. But that's just some of the good things about the global shipping program. It's really good for the buyer. I mean, really good for the seller, but just not so good for the buyer. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. I just acquired several vintage wool trench coats and a cashmere wool women's dress suit. Should I list this now or hold on to this and sell next year since winter runs away? No, still listed now. Because it's still cold in a lot of different places. You're gonna be out of town soon, and it's gonna be super cold. So you definitely just wanna list your items, because like I said, the global shipping program, you might be shipping it internationally where it's still cold. So definitely still have it listed. And even if it does sit for a while, you know, it is what it is, but you can't sell if it isn't listed. So I would still say, you know, list it now, and don't get too caught up once the weather changes and the season changes and you're not getting offers. I wouldn't suggest that you lower your prices too much. You know, just kind of just hold your prices to where it is, because when the right buyer comes along, you know, when the season comes along, that whatever you price it at is still going to be a pretty good price. So don't rush to the bottom and try to go from selling it to $100 to try to selling it to $15 during the summer. Like, you don't want to do that. But still get it listed, because it still might sell. If there's no more questions in the chat, we are gonna wrap this up. Give y'all a couple seconds. I know y'all saw that vid. Guys are so stylish. Thank you very much.
When you're reading what you said out loud, people can't hear what you're saying.
Say it again?
So when you're reading the comments, you gotta.
Oh yeah, my bad. I was just reading the comments, trying to see if there was any questions or anything interesting that I missed, but I don't think so. I think Dom had it under control. So that's all we got for today. So don't forget to hit that like button. It definitely goes a long way. And if you guys have any comments, any questions, shoot me an email. Also, before I forget, if you guys want to join my eBay coaching program, shoot me an email at DapperAdvisor@gmail.com. That coaching program is definitely more geared towards new eBay sellers, people that have less experience on eBay. Those of you that are just not successful on eBay and you want more like a hands-on, like one-on-one coaching, this could definitely be for you. And I'm definitely only going to be a very small group. I'm not trying to overwork myself and do too much at one time. I'm going to limit the group to like 8 to 10 people just to be transparent with you guys. But like I said, I'm going to be doing that very soon. If you guys are interested in joining the program, shoot me an email and we can go from there. And Dom, you want to say anything? You got my balloon.
Hi, people. I'm back one more time. What you guys didn't know, Akil didn't say, we're celebrating. Wait, can you read it? No, it's backwards. Anyway, it says happy anniversary because Akil is celebrating his 2-year entrepreneur anniversary this weekend. I have a little song for him. Do you want me to sing it?
If you want to sing it.
No, I'm not going to sing it. But I do really just want to say congratulations on your 2-year mark. This has been a journey. I'm really proud of you. And I know you work really hard. And people, I know you guys tune on his videos, but you don't see how much work he actually puts into everything. So keep supporting, keep liking, keep doing all the things, keep joining in, asking questions, because it really does mean a lot. And just seeing how much work he puts in and actually seeing him actually reap the benefits from it now 2 years later is beyond amazing. So again, congratulations and thanks for your support, people.
Thank you very much. That was like a sponsored.
This is like fun. Put the balloon back in there. Right? But keep the balloon. I told Akil he had to attach it to himself all weekend. Go ahead.
I'm like a little kid with this balloon on. But anyway, thanks y'all. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you guys on the next one. Peace.